Good evening. This is the the March meeting of the Norwalk Parking Authority. And those of you joining, you could see our agenda where we'll start with roll call. And so Brian, if you want to
Sure.
do that.
Chairman Reitz,
Here.
Vice Chairman Seebeck,
Here.
Commissioner Fulham,
Here.
and Commissioner Ailey is not going to be attending this meeting today.
Great. Thank you, Brian. So the first order of business would be to discuss, if necessary, and accept the minutes of our February meeting. Are there any items for discussion? Hearing none, may I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Thank you, Matt.
Second.
Thank you, Peter. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Excellent. Thank you. The next portion of the meeting is for any public participation. If anyone is online who wishes to speak, we ask that you limit your comments to 3 minutes, and please be mindful that this is not a dialogue. We don't treat this portion of the meeting as a dialogue. Instead, we will hear and gather the information that is conveyed, and we will take it up at future meetings. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak?
There is not.
Okay. All right, Daleen, thank you. On the reporting, the engineers, the first item there.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I'll give a quick just update on the Haviland parking deck project. Last month we received 4 bids for this project. After a thorough review and consultation with the project planner, we recommend proceeding with GL Capazzo for the contract. GL Capazzo successfully completed similar work last year on our Yankee Doodle project. And their bid aligns with our budget while demonstrating the expertise required for both the deck repairs and the improvements outlined in this project. Funding is secured through CapEx and MPA accrual funds. I'm seeking your vote tonight to authorize me to enter the contracting phase with GL Capazzo. Once finalized, GL is prepared to begin work shortly thereafter. Any
Excellent.
questions?
Thank you, Brian.
Okay, you're welcome.
Yeah, is there any discussion on this topic? So we need to vote on this, act on this, Brian?
If we want to move into contracting with their bid came at 1.7 million, which that's what we budgeted for this. The other bids, as you can see on this spreadsheet, were a little bit over.
Yeah, a little bit. Okay, if there's anything to discuss, let's do so. But otherwise, if we could have a motion.
I'll make a motion to authorize the full-time staff to engage GL Capazzo at the budgeted and bidded amount for the Haviland parking deck project in 2025.
Thank you, Matt. Any discussion on the motion?
If I can, Chairman, I just wanted to reiterate to the board that Brian and I did walk the site with the contractor, making sure that they had a clear understanding of what the job was, but also so we're very confident that they can get done. But while we call this a Haviland parking deck, I also wanted to remind you that this does include the stairs to the breezeway or passageway and improvements to the passageway, which is a new floor. Improvements to the walls, ceiling, and adding the RGB LED lights to the corner. So I think the project it also takes the mixtures of greens that are painted on the fence and light fixtures today, turns everything to black, which will really complement well the brick buildings as well as the fire escapes that are on existing buildings, right? So I think it will be a very noticeable improvement to the users of the area. We're excited to move forward with it.
Excellent. Thank you, John. So may I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Peter. As all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thanks. That carries. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you. Thanks, Jim, for adding the little bit more background on that. Appreciate that. Next thing I wanted to update was the new installation of the parks equipment. The park system was successfully installed and is now operational. The primary installation began on the 15th of March at the train station, where the Flash and the Parking Man teams worked diligently over the weekend to minimize disruption, ensuring relatively seamless commute for that Monday. Once the hardware is fully installed at the train station, the Parking Man team moved to Maritime Garage to begin that installation. Throughout the process, the existing Amano system remained functional, allowing both transient and permanent holders uninterrupted access to the garage. As an example, at Maritime, the installation team took the Marshall Street entrance and exit offline, while the Water Street Plaza continued operating fully with the Amano equipment. Once the Marshall Street was completed, to transition to the new Park Connect system was executed smoothly. During both transitions, permit holders used their backup prox cards to enter and exit while the license plate recognition system was programmed. Customers were like super excited to see this feature in action. And I'm happy to confirm that the LPR system is now fully functioning. Flash is still addressing some minor software adjustments, but these are routine and expected. I'd like to really take a moment to thank those teams for the hard work. Their efforts have positioned us to deliver an improved customer experience for our visitors. I've also included some videos on the next slide, just so you can see how the permit system functions with the LPR system. But before I get to those, is there any questions on this implementation of the new park system?
Not for me. This is fantastic. Thank you.
Okay. Let me see
Yeah,
if I
Brian,
can get
could
these.
I just echo something too as well, Brian, real quick, or no?
Oh, hey, Louis. Yeah,
How are you?
please.
Yeah, I just wanted to really take a moment to rave the team, Rocky on the ground and his entire team. I mean, this was a heavy lift with 12 lanes, and to go down like it did with minimal issues. We do a lot of these across the state and across the country, and this was pretty seamless for the most part. And I just wanted to rave him, and thank you, Brian, as well, for all the collaboration with Rocky as well. So just wanted to rave him. That's all on the team. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Louis. I wanted to say that as well, so you beat me to it. But this was for the board, you know that this is a long time coming. Like, we wanted to do this for a while. We had some challenges getting it off. Brian was able to work through, execute it, and get a vendor, and in cooperation and coordination with Laz. They all did a fantastic job.
So let me start these videos so you can see. I took this this morning. That's the LPR camera. They call it Flash Vision. And I just pull up to the lane. The camera reads and that's the exit at the train station. Here's the entry at Marshall.
And Eric, that would have been the exit that you got stuck in that time.
I was just thinking about that.
It takes a few seconds for it to read the plate. And then this is the exit out of North Water Street Plaza at the Maritime.
That's awesome.
So that's how seamless it is. Now it's really, and I've been stressing this on, at least on the, sorry, I'm trying to get to the next slide, on operationally, how we need to manage this right now. A lot of people are going to be coming in pretty fast, or quickly with the turnaround of the arm gate. So it's operationally, we got to make sure people are going up to the spaces and not blocking the road, so traffic can get through and actually park at the Maritime instead of waiting for a spot to open up, because we have plenty of spaces on the upper floors. So Rocky and his team are going to be keeping an eye on that to ensure during the busy ingress of the aquarium that line could get moving.
That's great. And just again, thank you, Brian, for all your coordination help on this and for the teams. It's always more difficult to do something like this while the facility is in operation. And it certainly, you guys certainly did a masterful job.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Before I give the LAS team control over this for their report out, just want to let the commission know that in February we had 2,608 transactions of the free 15-minute option. February is the first full month that this data represents the entire city. In January, we started the citywide rollout on the 30th of January, but in January we had 1,219 total transactions with only 2 days of citywide. So we're going to keep an eye on this data. So I think it's going to help us manage those 15 minutes and see where our opportunities are. I had a brief conversation about how we can get more messaging out on the 15 minutes just to kind of continue to notify the public that the option's there during the process of us reviewing how we can get this on a pay by phone app as well.
Great.
So
yeah,
Thank
Brian, I spoke with you earlier, and I still get the customers in saying they don't know it's free. They don't know it's 15 minutes. So I had mentioned that there might be something nice to put some kind of, whether it's a decal or something. I'm not looking for signage. I'm not looking to backtrack on what we already improved on, but to someone driving by where the pay station says pay here, if they could see something, really simple, really dumb looking, saying free 15-minute, enter plate here, something, doesn't have to be those words, obviously, but just something simple, because anybody coming from out of town is looking for a place. And I have people run in saying, I don't want to get a ticket. And I said, did you get the free 15 minutes? They have no clue what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. So for the local person from Norwalk, yes, they're educated to this, obviously. If they're a regular person taking advantage of the free 15 minutes, it's really a home run for them. But for the out of towner, it's lacking. So, but I think the amount of people that have used that free 15 minutes just shows how positive it is. I'm really so happy about this. Thanks, Brian.
Welcome. And we'll definitely look at seeing some options of what we could put out there.
How difficult is it to add something onto the website, our website?
We could probably get something. I think the 15, Rocky, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there is a page dedicated to it, but it's not on the homepage. So maybe we could put something on the homepage where it's free 15-minute option info or something like that. Yeah. We can work with the Snyder Group to get that up.
And okay. Brian, weren't we looking at pay advertisements in social media to do a larger push to the region?
So we did the initial post. We did the initial post last month. I think it went out on the 30th. I presented the data on that post, and it did get a lot of traction. So we could continue to run a campaign on that to get at least more social media awareness of, and just keep that going in conjunction with some of the other solutions we're discussing here.
I think it's value, because it's not only hitting, when we do a pay advertisement, it's not only hitting the people who are, who liked the page. It actually is pushing it out to the region for people in the region that fits the algorithm to get it. So I think and also then more people may like our page after it, right? So I think we had good traction. I think we should try it again.
Perfect. I'll work that out. Get that happen.
Peter,
I even put on my own website, free 15 minutes. And if there might be someone that could artistically, graphic design, put a uniform, free 15 minutes throughout Norwalk at the pay stations, or, on hopefully these pay by phone app before too long, then if they have a uniformity, if everyone puts that same thing on their own websites, then we would have a much bigger blast throughout all the different businesses, plus the city sites, I mean, that might be an exponential increase on people could recognize throughout the city.
Yeah.
You know, to talk to the people that are on, you know, what's happening in Norwalk now. And if we kind of promote that, and if we had something we could download that on a homepage that comes up on people's own homepage, just to promote that free 15 minutes.
Sure.
Just a thought if people wanted to jump in
Yeah.
on that.
Yeah, so some of these things are, some of this discussion is what Snyder does all the time, right?
Mhm.
So maybe the question for them is, you know, how do we do this in the most effective way?
Sure.
Certainly the Chamber of Commerce should pick it up, you know, everything.
Yeah. I'll discuss this with in our next meeting with Emily and Rachel, and I'll have some findings for next month, of course.
Great.
Thanks.
Thank you. Sirak, you want to jump in?
Sure, Chairman. Let me share my screen. So you know, we just have Brian driving and texting on the record now. So can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right. Good evening, everyone. For the month of February, and for the first time in this fiscal year, we missed budget revenue and expenses, resulting in a net loss for the month. This is mainly due to snow. Snow affected our revenue negatively, and it also increased our snow expenses for the month. The positive thing is on a year-to-date basis, we are sitting on a healthy fund balance. So that's a good thing for this fiscal year. Overall, total parking revenue, I have to make correction of this. Commissioners, when you know, preparing this, it's 0.7%, but being busy with the equipment installed, I had to prepare this, and I apologize for the mistypo over here. Overall, parking revenue is 0.7% under budget for the month, and this is mainly coming from meter revenue being under budget by 8.8%, and then parking violation being under budget for the month at 13.6. This was offset with a strong monthly revenue that was over budget by 8.2% for the month, and then transient revenue being on budget, even though we had snowstorm that affected our revenue negatively. The transient revenue, especially from the gated garages, the indoor garages, Haviland, the Haviland deck, the North Order Street, the Maritime Garage, and the train station and Yankee Doodle Garage outperformed, making up for the loss on those open lots and the on-street revenue. Expense-wise, we are over budget for the month. This is again mainly coming from the snowstorms that we had. We had about 6 major reported snowstorms for the month of February, and that is not including the melt and refreeze for the month. So, but expense was over budget for the month. To the next page. On the variance report, expense repair and building repair and maintenance was under budget for the month, and this is the anticipated overhead gate repair, light bulb replacement, some electrical repairs that were budgeted that never happened for the month. But as we get closer towards the end, we anticipate the overhead gate being repaired, and some light replacement that we're seeing that needs to be repaired at the Maritime Garage and train station. So we use that towards the end of this fiscal year. Snow removal, as you see, is over budget for the month. As mentioned before, 6 snowstorms, reported snowstorms, and the melting, refreezing that happened. Also in this expense line item for the month, there were some invoices that were for the last days of the month in January that hit the month of February, throwing us over, making us over budget for the month. On a year to date, we're over budget for under snow, but March and April, we expect to make up these expenses, and also some of the expenses that happen in East Norwalk are reimbursable expenses, so that will make up for year end. Service contract for the month is over budget for the month, and this is due to this was reported in the month of January that service contract was under budget for the month, so that's making up for the missed invoice in January. Utilities expense for the month was over budget. We've contacted Eversource to find out why the increase in monthly charge. They did get back to us yesterday, and they're seeing this across the board, where snow, the extremely cold weather for the month people have been using the gas for heating the houses. So we're still asking them for the actual reading, and just to make sure that it is actually increased usage, and we will update this on the next month report.
So Sirak, can I ask a question? On the building repair and maintenance, the actual year to date is 238, and the budget's $140,000 more. Is 238 where we should be at this time of the year, or is there? I mean, how do we finish the year? Is there an indication somewhere in your reporting that tells us that we're on track for the month of March?
We are on track for so far, Eric, but Chairman, I'm sorry, I apologize, but it's the overhead gate repair. We're expecting that to come around 100 and 115,000 for the repair of that. So when we add that up, when we add that expense towards the end, I think we will be around the budgeted amount for under repair and maintenance.
Okay, so we can finish the year for the 140 that's left.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Question, I'll go to, this is the financial package for the month, full financial package, and if anyone has any question on that.
Sorry, Sirak. So that effectively eats up half of what you're forecasting, what our year to date, I should say, what our year to date savings is in repairs and maintenance. Considering that we're behind on revenue, where do you feel like we're going to fall?
We are not behind on revenue, Vice Chair. If you look at the total revenue, we are on budget, and I'm actually a little over budget in revenue.
Sorry, I'm seeing total revenue, total system revenue year to date 4.56 versus a budget of 4.59. So savings in operating expense would have brought us to our budgeted net. But if we were going to eat it up in a known expenditure, how do we plan to make up the shortfall in revenue?
Overall, on year to date, Vice Chair, we're sitting at a 431 fund balance, not in net income. And on a budget of 178, and we're trending, assuming the overhead gate repairs are happening within this fiscal year, and we expect to finish around 300,000 for a year to date, and that still puts us over budgeted fund balance. But there, aside from the repair and maintenance, there are some savings in payroll. There are some also savings in uniforms, operating supplies that are happening for this fiscal year, and we anticipate we anticipate to finish under budget on these line items. That makes up, even if there is a lost revenue, which we don't anticipate losing a lot. We anticipate to finish on budget, at least on a minimum. We feel strongly comfortable that the added overhead gate repairs will not throw us off budget.
Okay. All right.
So Vice Chair, if I can also maybe put a point of clarification. So I think we tightened up the budget to have a fund balance that was larger than last year, because I think we recognized, I think a couple of years ago, that we were not putting enough of a fund balance in there. So our fund balance is expanded from what was done years past. So we're still going to be ahead of where the end fund balance is. So we're still going to be banking, more at the end of the day than we ever both did there before, but because we might have inflated some of the other ones with the anticipated charges. But I think we kind of got it a little closer. So we'll use a little bit of the fund balance to make it happen, but it's still, the fund balance is still going to be in excess of what we did other years. And we would be able to show a potential lender if we needed to bond, that we have the ability to withstand that.
It makes sense. I appreciate that, Jim. I appreciate the clarification. Look, I think we're trending in the right direction from the perspective of that compliance is up, right? So we're seeing increases in revenue in meter, transient, monthly, and decreases of revenue in violation, which is the desired effect of all of the work the collective work that the team has put together in the last few years, right? So that's what we had aspired to, right? That's what we want to see. You just want to make sure that we're not, we're not cutting into our forecast there by, underspending in a quarter and then overspending as we, go to hit the finish line.
Yep. Got it. And I think also a good point to add is that, we anticipated what free 15 minutes could do, right? But we didn't know until it was when Brian gave numbers, those numbers for February really equate to 93 uses a day, every day for the entire month, right? So to be where we are with revenue, I think what we're really saying is, we're satisfying the user, we're satisfying, small businesses. We're getting there. It's not having a negative effect on revenue. A slight hit, but compared to what we're doing, minuscule, I think, to that aspect. And we'll continue to watch what that does. But I think I hear you. But overall, I think it's kind of falling in line. I think, but some of it we'll see. The free 50 minutes, it has an impact, right? Because it's, we did that citywide instead of the selected number of meters, but it is freeing up those 50 minutes so that restaurants can use them for longer periods of time into the evening, which was one of the constant complaints that we heard. So, but your points are recognized.
Thanks.
Thank you, Jim.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, Sir.
Thank you. And the rest of the package, commissioners, it's the backup for the reports that we discussed, and you have the package. And if you have any question, I can answer those questions. For the month of February, we didn't see any major outliers. The only outlier that we saw is in the Park Mobile part, and I can go to the Park Mobile transactions and show that we are seeing a major increase in the Sono on street and then wall on street areas, and whereas we're seeing a minor decline into the off street facilities. So that is an outlier that we wanted to show, just comparing them, February of 25 versus 24. And if there is any no question, just wanted to update everyone that we did. Let me see if I can share that screen up. We did have a customer appreciation day for the month of February, and I have some slides to show. We did them at the South Norwalk train station garage. We had a visitor here, Mr. Lutz, and his lovely daughter joined us for the customer appreciation. Staff was there, and we have gotten a very positive feedback from customers. And I just wanted to bring that up. That was our customer appreciation for the month of February.
Excellent. Thank you. I have one question, and maybe Brian, this is maybe for you too. With the new controls in the garages, is there data that they'll be generating that we should add to our monthly discussion? Are there things that we should be tracking to?
Well, I think one of the items that we're really pushing for is occupancy. Now that we have this new system, the occupancy report is going to be I think, a lot more accurate than what we had with Amano. During the installation, we noticed some, there was an issue with some of the wiring from the exit gate that caused some of the occupancy data to be a little off. So having the new system there will definitely tighten up on the data that we can present on this monthly call. And I think we're, Laz and us in the city are going to be reviewing some of those items to present to you to see how we want to proceed with these report outs.
Good. And the same thing for the 15 minutes. Is there a way to track how much usage it's getting in real numbers?
Yeah, the numbers I presented earlier, that was from me just pulling a report from the Calais system, the Flowbird
good.
system.
Okay. All right, excellent. Thank you.
Okay, I think I need to present, don't I? Let's see. Is this it? There we go. All right, sorry about that.
So on the new business.
So just a couple items. The first is the condition assessments. Last month, I presented an overview of condition assessments for our parking garages, emphasizing their importance as critical infrastructure. I highlighted that these assessments involve thorough inspections of structural elements, mechanical systems, and safety features, with findings documented in a report that identifies immediate repair needs and recommends maintenance schedules. Proactive assessments extend the lifespan of our garages and ensure they remain safe and in good repair. I noted that our most recent assessment was conducted in 2022. We're proposing a biannual assessment to ensure ongoing safety, functionality, and longevity of these vital assets. However, we also recommend retaining some flexibility to conduct an additional assessment in an off year should an urgent issue arise, allowing us to address the pressing concerns properly. In this event, we would present the info to the board and seek approval. To support this plan, I obtained 2 proposals from Desmond and another from THA. We recommend moving forward with Desmond's proposal. They performed our 2022 assessment. They bring familiarity with our facilities, and they've offered guaranteed pricing for 5 years with no long-term commitment required. This cost certainty combined with flexibility to adjust our schedule as needed makes their proposal the best fit. And I'm seeking approval tonight to proceed with Desmond for those biannual assessments with the option to add off-year assessments if urgent needs emerge. Implementation details will be finalized while, depending on your vote. These assessments, the 2022 assessment has been vital to what I do when prioritizing the projects that we're doing, like the Haviland Deck project, the potential for the concrete, the remaining concrete repairs that I asked to bond earlier. Or my God, it's been 2 months now. 2 months with the CapEx request to go out to bond for the 1.75 for Yankee Doodle. So these condition assessments are vital, and I think they're just going to be a continued help to us as we move forward.
Great. Is there discussion on the topic?
Make a motion to authorize full-time staff to engage Desmond in condition assessment.
Thank you, Matt. Peter, you want to?
I just have one question. So when they give a biannual report, do they have like line items for all the different things required for each facility? That, in other words, you can see the change every 2 years, whether the things are getting worse or is it? I guess they have overall recommendations at the end of the assessment. How does
they have recommendations, but they also do it line by line on what they identify.
Like I know when Jim mentioned the chain drag thing and so forth, so they do something like that every 2 years to see if it's holding its own, or so it's, in other words, you can just read it, a layperson can kind of read it and see what needs fixing.
Correct.
Okay.
They are very detailed reports. I presented a summary, and I could distribute the summary page just so the commission has eyes on it, and just to maybe bring a little bit more clarity to this, just to show what the things that I see that that helps organize and prioritizes our projects.
And also, Peter, to your point, that like using the same vendor do it. Yes, we will understand if something has, changed dramatically. That vendor will be calling that issue out. So it'll be on a summary. It'll be things. But if there's one item that has failed greater than anticipated, that item gets that vendor will know it because they're doing the same thing. But it would be the chain drag. It would be the comprehensive review, the contract. The concrete inspection through it, and we'll be able to see if anything has changed from period to period. So that's the way we think it's very important that we do these on a consistent basis. These were not done before. So I think really running off that basis 2022 is going to be important for us to look at.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with to monitor them is really important, so nothing sneaks up on you. We just, if they're a certain line item, then they're addressed every 2 years and they're looked at every 2 years. So there's nothing hopefully going to sneak up on you. No, I'm all for it.
So that's a second?
Yes.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Great. Thank you. All right, Brian.
So the other item is more for discussion between the commissioner, or for the chairman and the commissioners, on potential incentives for businesses near our assets.
So Brian and I and Jim have been discussing things that we could do for businesses that are in proximity to our parking assets, and the idea came up that perhaps there could be a program where we recognize save the social media presence of the businesses that are within those areas, and if they do posts that generate X number of visits to click I guess clicks or likes, and ultimately visits to Norwalk, then how could we work with them to promote it? And one thought was that maybe they get some dollars of parking in either coupons or something, so that it's correlated to their performance of their business. We're what we kicked around was that, and I'm not a fan of just giving parking away, but if someone is putting the effort into their business, then maybe there's a way that we could reinforce that effort with something that they could give to their customers, or something that they could use further in their marketing. I don't want to spring this on everybody, so I don't know that we need to really talk about it tonight, but mostly I just wanted to get it in your heads, and just for you to think about either something like this or something else, where the relationship between the authority and the businesses is more transactional than just us giving things away. So just, if you would think about it, if you have some comments initially, certainly feel free to share. But I wanted to get it out there and get you guys thinking about it, and then we could talk about it at a future time.
Chairman, if I may, if somebody has ideas, I think it'd be great to not wait till the next one, but send it to Brian. Brian could gather everyone's thoughts, and then do some research on his own, seeing if we could find some of the other best practice and things done throughout the country, and then put that out so that we could actually get a document to the members of the commission ahead of time, so that you could have a good dialogue for it next time. But it would be a coalition of everyone's thoughts.
Okay, that's a good thought, Jim. And it could be things like, if a business does 40 posts in a month, maybe that's something that we recognize or somehow. or, you know, however it, you know, whatever it could do, but it's just something that, you know, they're putting the effort in. And so on our end, if there's, you know, if there's something we could do to reinforce that, is really the goal.
I'm thinking how we could maybe add a question. And I'm not a big fan of customer service surveys that are super long, but ours isn't long. And we could maybe add a question on where you're visiting, where are you going while you're in Norwalk? And maybe if there's a, you know, maybe we see a trend of something, maybe it might give us that data point where we could go to that business and kind of, you know, incentivize what they're doing, because obviously people are coming there for a reason.
Yeah.
You know, I know next to me that new pottery factory is going to be opening up shortly, and he'll draw, I think, from a wide geographic area. So, you know, to have the parking garage, which will be critical for his business, to have that as a real positive thing, because that'll show up on social media, or he'll probably, I would think, have a Facebook page. So in other words, other people will be looking at that, and it'll help him get off to a right start if everything is positive. So, you know, parking garages are sometimes not looked at very positively from, I'm going to say, women or people. They want open parking, but that's not the case. You know, the Yankee Doodle garage is such an asset with 400 cars can park in there. So, so he's going to be opening up soon. And I know Greer and that gymnastic venue, which is right next to Greer, gets really packed. And to get them in the parking garage, I'm just kind of, I'm sorry, just expanding that there's a lot of people that are looking for parking currently, and it's going to increase. I think as Jim foreseen going into the Yankee Doodle garage, but yet they're not actually getting in the garage yet. At least when Greer and that gymnastic place, that they're parking all which ways, jamming in this way and that way. I don't know what the right answer is without putting, you know, a security guard or an officer, which is expensive, which is probably not going to happen. But I'm just making an observation, and I'm just telling, you know, the board and so forth about this situation we've got going on here. And with the pottery factory, I think he's going to bring a fair amount of people. He's really doing a good job fixing up the building, and that's going to happen in short order, a couple of weeks or something like that. He's going to open up.
I think the
That's kind of the
observations.
thought.
Sorry, Chairman, go ahead, please.
I was just gonna say, Peter, that's kind of the thought behind this. If there are, and I, you can't really, I don't think we could tie it to the number of people that go to their business, but if the business itself is doing a big effort, and we went to social media when we were kicking this around, but if they're putting a big presence out on social media, we could then give them something that they could give their client on their next visit, to maybe that drives them to the garage somehow.
Yeah, I'll talk to Dan. He's a really nice guy who owns the pottery factory, and just make him aware of that. And maybe he can talk to Brian or Shirok and see how that can tie into he's got to have a serious Facebook page.
Yeah, let's not talk yet, because we need
Okay.
to get something a little more baked. But if you guys will think about it, and then, you know, like Jim was saying, get everything over to Brian, you know, then maybe we could get something put together that businesses who, you know, who are putting the effort in to attract people, which I think everyone should be, but, you know, there are different levels of that effort, I from what I've seen on social media.
Okay.
So that was it. There's just a thought to figure out how to engage on a sort of on a different level with the businesses that are nearby the assets.
I think there's a lot of different parts moving, and it almost needs a captain at the helm a little bit to kind of put these things together a little bit and make it work. And I think there's real opportunity.
Yep. Okay, great. Excellent. Is there any old business?
There is not, Chair.
Nothing. Then if there's nothing else, then we'll have a motion for adjournment.
Before you do the motion for adjournment, Chair, I just wanted to alert the board. So we will have a meet. Our next scheduled meeting is April 23rd. But just we'll get it out to there then. But just wanted to get it to everyone's ears. April 26th is Earth Day. It's the celebration on the green. I am hosting a Wall Street walk that morning where we're meeting. We'll meet at the library, walk to the green, but we will go through Wall Street, Belden, Brunel rather, and River, talking about some of the improvements that are coming. We will be having a little surprise. So we'll have a little virtual reality of what the project will be looking like. But you'll use your phone to scan. But we'll go by the garage. We'll be talking to people about what the garage improvements look like. But if anyone's interested in that walk, you can join me on the 26th.
Excellent. What time is that?
It's I think it's 10 a.m. 10:30. I'll get back to you on that one.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay.
We can
Uh,
also, we'll also do a social blast on that. To let people know when they go to Park Norwalk in our Facebook post on Facebook. So.
Okay, great. Then a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Peter. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Matt. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, everybody. Have a great night. Thank you for your time, and
Thank you.
look forward to picking this up next time. All
Thank
right.
you.
Thanks.
Have a
Good
good
night.
night.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Night.